The Identity 5 community. A place of dreams, nightmares, and, constant post-match arguments. So, one fine day, I got a little question on my community post. Hey, is the IDV community getting better or worse? And you know me, I was this close to saying, still as competitive as ever, duh. But then, a thought hit me. Wait a minute, I'm not that competitive. Does that mean I'm not even part of the community? Existential crisis aside, I had to sit down and think. After some thoughts, well, let me tell you. This community? It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Some people walk in and get the sweet, friendly vibes, while others, they just keep scooping up the salt. Some say the IDV community is toxic, horrible, and filled with chaos. Others, they think it's fun, helpful, and actually pretty wholesome. So which one is it? Well, that depends on where you're standing. And honestly, emotions in this game are about as stable as a Wu Chang player fighting Patricia. 1 second you're vibing, the next you're typing a whole dissertation in post-chat about why your randoms sold your game by doing a basement rescue without Tide Turner, while the hunter had detention active. Like, seriously, the only thing that isn't fluid in this game is red ping in certain countries and my permanent residency in the Elk tier. Those two things are set in stone, just like the fact that geisha players will always be eating pallets. Anyway, since this game has such a massive player base, we can't just lump everyone into one category. There are different pockets of the IDV community. Some are thriving, while others are, well, wild. So today, we're taking a deep dive. Just how many communities exist in this game? Which one do you belong to? And most importantly, why am I still an L? Grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's talk about it. When you think the IDV community is so competitive and toxic, then I believe you may have been engaged with the athletes community. The athletes community is a place where salt levels are higher than the ocean. If there's one place in Identity V where toxicity thrives, then this is the stadium. And trust me, every player here has at least a sprinkle of salt in their system. Some mild, some full-on ocean level. But the real question is, why? Well, to understand this, let's understand this game mechanism first. At its core, Identity 5 is competitive. That's the whole reason rank matches exist. It's also the reason some of y'all are skipping lunch like it's a diet plan, because heaven forbid you miss one rank match. To this community, winning is everything. Food, homework, social life, a girlfriend? Oh please, who needs those when you've got an S badge to grind for? And it doesn't stop there. Some of these folks are so desperate to reach top tier that they're willing to, well, cheat. That's right. They're out here hacking their way to the leaderboard like it's an Olympic event, because in their minds, their entire self-worth is based on a digital rank. Let's paint the picture. These players grind like their lives depend on it, chasing after character badges like it's their destiny. And once they get one, they're gonna defend it like a dragon hoarding gold. The goal? Reach high tier and stay there forever. The problem? Losing. Now imagine putting your entire soul into this game, only to get clapped in rank by some randoms who plays like a drunken maid. Tragic, right? And what happens when someone this serious keeps losing? Well, it's a full breakdown. The mood shifts from godlike confidence to absolute misery in a matter of seconds. And do you know what happens when people get stressed because they're not winning? Well, they lose it. The insults start flying, the chat turns into an all-out war zone, and suddenly, someone's typing slurs like it's a full-time job. And let's talk about these insults. They're not just your basic, salty, GGEZ type of shade. Some of them go straight for the jugular. Caustic, personal, and sometimes even dipping into some real nasty stuff like misogyny and other social issues. Now, don't get me wrong, not all of these problems stem from competitive salt, but I believe it does add fuel to the fire. It's basically a natural disaster, except the only thing getting obliterated is everyone's sanity. And let's be honest, no matter how chill someone thinks they are, if they get stuck in this winning is everything mentality, they will get toxic at some point. It's just science. And that, my dear friends, is why the athletes community is one of the most toxic neighborhoods in the IDV universe. To wrap it all up, these players aren't just hiding in one place. They're scattered across all tiers. But if you're looking for the epicenter of the madness, high and top tiers are where it's at. Now, if you think the IDV community is all fun, full of laughs and downright hilarious, then congrats, darling. You've probably been hanging out with the comedian community. These are the folks who live in English 1 chat, cracking one-liners like it's open mic night. These people are kind of famous, you know. If you spend enough time in the main chat, you know who they are, because, well, who doesn't love a comedian? Even on the worst days, logging into IDV and seeing these people go off can be a stress reliever. Sometimes I really do believe the IDV community is a fun and wholesome place, especially when I find myself lurking in chat for a whole hour, laughing like I just got free tickets to a Kevin Hart show.
Help me!
I believe it, if I conveniently forgot about every other community lurking in the shadows. One thing about them, however, is that the only thing funny about this group isn't just their jokes. Sometimes their skill is also hilarious. If you ever match with them, get prepared, because you're about to witness the most unserious gameplay in IDV history. These people will pick Helena and try to kite and rescue instead of decoding. They'll lock in barmaid while the rest of the team is underage. And don't even get me started on the Luca mains who queue up solely to bust out that silly little dance in front of everyone, including the hunter who doesn't even give a damn about whatever he's doing. And when they're playing hunter, they're the easiest people to be friendly with. Just ask them in pre-match chat and voila, you've got yourself a friendly hunter. Now, before you ask, do these people ever reach high tiers? Rarely. Some of them play for fun, and the rest? Well, let's just say they're too busy running a full-on stand-up comedy show in English 1 chat. That's why you mostly find this crew chilling in mid-tier ranks. Also, they are by far some of the most active people in main chat. Before we continue, let's talk about something that may be interesting. Perspective. Imagine a sweaty, hyper-competitive player from the athletes community running into a full-on comedian in Coast match. The athlete is fuming because their precious badge got ruined by some joker who spent the match emoting instead of decoding. So naturally, they go off. And from the comedian's point of view, suddenly, the IDV community seems toxic, intolerant, and downright mean. Now flip it. Imagine that same athlete stepping into English 1 chat after a stressful rank session, only to be met with an absolute comedy show. Jokes are flying, people are roasting each other in fun ways, and suddenly, IDV feels like the most fun community in the world. Two sides of the same coin, right? It's all based on your perspective, people. It's always two sides of the same coin, unless this time, we're talking about some of the other communities out there. Let's keep going! The IDV lore community is a place where you'll either feel like an intellectual genius or like your brain just took a direct hit from a nuclear bomb. The folks in this community are not your typical IDV players. They don't just grind rank, pull off god-tier kites, and flex their badges. No. These people are professors in disguise. Well, let me introduce you to IDV lore, or as I like to call it, a ticking time bomb for your brain. The deeper you go, the higher the chances of your skull detonating into tiny little pieces. And these professors? They're the ones desperately trying to put those pieces back together before you suffer permanent brain damage. To be honest, sometimes I feel like understanding IDV lore needs you to get some academic degree. In fact, if you really want to master this mess, you might need a PhD in history, criminology, mythology, and heck, throw in demonology too. Honestly, the devs just don't make it easy. Unlike other games where the story is handed to you on a silver platter, IDV lore is a 1,000-piece puzzle, and each piece is another puzzle. You might think you found an answer, but nope, it's vague. You think you finally figured it out, but oops, there's a side story that totally contradicts it. It's like the devs sat down one day and said, let's make the lore so complicated that even the most dedicated players will cry. For example, let's compare this to Resident Evil. Take our favorite zombie-slaying heartthrob, Leon S. Kennedy. His story spans multiple games, spin-offs, CGI movies, novels, and even some manga. But you know what? You can learn his entire backstory in a day. Everything is clear, all the wiki pages line up, and you're an expert. Now let's talk about IDV. The moment I decided to make a lore video on Norton Campbell, my life flashed before my eyes. I had to dig through his deductions, his letters, his side stories, costume descriptions, map backgrounds, offline materials translated from Chinese documents, and even Reddit discussions, Discord debates, which, by the way, all contradict each other. And after days of research, all I got was a most sensible guesses that still might be wrong. And that, my dear viewers, is why this community is full of professors. These people dedicate their time to deciphering the lore, sometimes caring more about the story than the gameplay itself. Most of them never reach high tiers, and some even quit playing altogether. But when it comes to lore knowledge, oh, they're god tier. Now, because IDV lore is basically a cryptic jigsaw puzzle, a lot of the lore floating around is guesswork more than official fact. So, if you're ever talking to a lore professor, just nod, smile, and pray they don't pull out 50 sources to prove you wrong. Now, somewhere in a quiet little corner of the IDV community, you'll find a different breed of players. They're not here to sweat in rank or crack jokes in chat. They're here to create. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the IDV artists. I'll be real with you, I don't know everything about this community, but what I do know is that they're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. I've befriended a few of them myself. They are absolute gems. They sell their art at reasonable prices, and some of them have even blessed my videos with their work. Literal lifesavers. As for their playstyle, casual but not completely unserious. They're not out here trying to be the next IDV esports champion, but they also don't spend entire matches goofing around like the comedians. They play the game competently, but their true passion? Art. When they start talking about art, they get enthusiastic. Some of them are still learning and growing, but we can't deny that they have potential. They're not Michelangelo yet, but give them time and they just might be. Now, why do they do it? Some draw because they love it. Others, well, they wouldn't mind a little extra cash. But at the end of the day, they're just a generally nice bunch of people. You'll often find them chilling in English One chat, casually promoting their work, sometimes even trading their art for, in-game currency. Yep, that's right. Some of these folks are out here grinding for echoes and fragments like it's the Renaissance era all over. Again. And honestly, big respect to them. If you've ever dared to say, I think this character is great, only to be bombarded with, actually they're trash and my fave is God tiers, well, congratulations! You've officially stepped into this side of the community. And honey, let me tell you, it's a battlefield. Now, within this chaos, we have two main species, the shippers and the simps. Let's start with the simps. These people will do anything to prove that their favorite character is superior. You think you can have a casual opinion? Think again. If you dare to disagree, they'll whip out a 15-page thesis on why their fave is objectively the best, complete with citations, and possibly a PowerPoint presentation. It's like they forgot this is a game, and not their doctoral dissertation. And the shippers? They're just as intense. These folks will move heaven and earth to make their OTPs canon, even when the lore itself is screaming, "No, sweetie, that's not happening." Now, let me clarify. I'm neither a shipper nor a simp myself. My experience, strictly as a bystander and occasionally a victim. Like, let me tell you a little horror story. Once, I said I liked Ada and thought her messy hair was cute. Big mistake. Some die-hard Vera fan came at me like, terrible taste. Vera is obviously superior. And I'm just standing there like, sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, why are we arguing about fictional characters as if this is some kind of culinary war? If you like grilled fish and I like chicken, why do you need to tell me my taste is trash? We can just enjoy our food without launching a full-scale debate. But no, in this community, it's either your fave is the best, or you have the worst opinions known to mankind. Well, folks, we've covered a lot today. Sweaty competitive players, stand-up comedians in disguise, PhD-level lore professors, passionate artists, character-obsessed simps and shippers, and yet there are still more corners of the IDV community that I haven't even touched. Why? Well, because I don't know everything. Not yet, at least. Let me tell you a story about this, by the way. For a while, I would love to spill the tea on the content creator drama that occasionally sets this community on fire, but the thing is, I don't buy into drama. If I don't understand everything about a situation, I'm not about to go flapping my mouth about it, because that's how you accidentally end up starring in your own community scandal. And personally, I prefer my IDV experience drama-free. Unless, of course, it's the actual game lore, because that's the only mess I willingly sign up for. Now, let's talk about toxicity for a sec. A lot of people say the IDV community is toxic, and yeah, sure, it can be. But that's the nature of every competitive game in itself. Last year I covered this topic in one of my videos, so you can see it for yourself. In my own experience, compared to my previous gaming experiences, well, this is a spa retreat. For context, I've gotten death threats in another game just for suggesting an idea. I've been witch hunted for things I didn't even do. And don't even get me started on the doxing. My personal message to the moderator of a Discord server was spread to the whole Discord community, making me the #1 criminal in the whole server. IDV toxicity? Well, the worst I've personally gotten here is some random accusations and a little bit of slurs. But you know what? I believe in you reap what you sow. Be nice to people, and chances are, they'll be nice back. If someone's rude to you, responding with kindness might just turn things around. But if you're out here being toxic, Whether intentionally or not, and you throw that energy back into the world, well, that's exactly what you're gonna get in return. And with that, my dear viewers, we've reached the end of today's broadcast. If you've got something to say about the community, or just want to spill some tea, I'm all ears. Until next time, this is your broadcaster, Silmina, signing out.